Our 2016 Conference USA kickoff presented by Under Armour continues, and now we go with the Monarchs of ODU. Bobby Wilder running a little bit late as the media behind us, making sure they get all their interviews with coaches. So we'll start with the players first, and we've got a couple of preseason All-Conference USA players joining us. Wide receiver Jonathan Duhart, and also defensive back Brandon Addison. Gentlemen, good to have you with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, we were just talking. Bobby told me when he took over this program and started, aim high was the goal. Well, last year you go to a bowl, and everybody probably feeling pretty good about themselves at ODU. But do you realize that's just the start? I mean, is it something that we enjoyed it, but we've got to forget about it because we've got another season?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you want to always, compliment the good and reinforce the good, but at the same time, you have to realize that you can't get complacent. And, that's a big thing for us because, we have a lot of young guys, and we just have to make sure that we realize that last year didn't just happen and that it took a lot of work to get to it and that we have to replicate that work.
How about you?
Same. Jonathan put everything where it's at. We just got to stay motivated, hungry and humble. We just have to stay from getting complacent and keep working hard.
I look at what you did, 10-3, 7-1 in conference play. They're picked third in the East now. They tied Western Kentucky for the lead in the East last season, even though they were picked sixth. Shows you what all the media guys know. But I look how young of a team you were. You were the fourth fewest seniors on the team in the FBS, with just 13 last year. Second fewest seniors on offense in the FBS. So to me, that says you guys are just on the brink of becoming even better. Fair statement, you think?
Yes, I'd like to believe so. We have a lot of young guys, or had a lot of young guys last year that grown up this year. We got a whole line coming back. We got Ray and Jeremy coming back. We're pretty deep as receivers. We've got Melvin and all the tight ends back. So as an offense, I can speak to the fact that we're going to build around the quarterback. So as a quarterback, it shouldn't be hard to transition, whoever it may be. But as an offense, I think we're going to be okay.
I want to stick to the offense for a second because what stood out, and something that Bobby has always talked about, you took care of the ball last season. I don't think there's any doubt that helps. You only had 10 turnovers last year, second fewest in college football. That is a big emphasis, obviously, on the offensive side of the football.
Oh, yes, sir. There's only one football on the field, so, as long as you have it, you have a chance to win the game, so you got to value it.
Okay, you lose David Washington at quarterback, which is a big loss because not only did he throw the ball well, he also ran the ball well. Bentley's gone, not in the program anymore. Going into spring when there's so much uncertainty at quarterback, as somebody who has to work with the quarterback, what was that like for you?
It was a little different, but at the same time, being a leader, you have to sometimes you face adversity, and Blake and Drayton did a great job in the spring. They worked their tails off, and going into the fall with a couple new guys in the mix with Steven and Jordan, it's gonna be an interesting competition.
Let's talk about the defense because last season the defense was bigger. They were deeper than the previous year. This year you kick it up another notch. 2 of the top 5 tacklers are back for 2017. How different will this defense look this year?
It's just going to continue to get better. We're just going to keep on growing. We have a lot of experience coming back on the D-line and in the back end. We have some new guys coming in at linebacker, but they're very talented. They're going to shock a lot of people in the league, I believe. Marvin Branch and Jordan Young, they're 2 good players. So we're excited.
Okay, you returned 3 of 4 on the defensive line, including my favorite player because it took me 2 games to figure out how to say his name, and I never believe a coach because he still gets it wrong, I think. How do you pronounce O'Shane's last name?
Zimenez.
There you go. I don't believe coaches because they butchered it last year, and I kept going, that's not the way you pronounce that name. 34 sacks in 2016. That is a lot of sacks you had.
Yes, sir.
For the defense.
Yes, sir. That helps everybody out. That just helps the linebackers. It helps us out in coverage. It makes it easier for us to cover. We don't have to cover that long, so it allows us to be more aggressive. So the D-line is definitely the staple of our defense.
I want to thank ODU for being here today. Bobby shows up and we're done. Thanks. That's a good look on you. I don't know if I should hail you to get in your cab or I should talk to you about football.
Hey, it's all about the Kangol and the sock game. You got to have the sock game too, Ron.
That is,
right, Brandon?
Yeah.
Now that's train smoke strong there. That really is, Well, first of all, Bobby, congratulations. Tied for first Western Kentucky last year for the East. You finished with a record of 10-3, and I was kidding the guys. I said, gee, the media picked you 6th. Mm-hmm. How special was last season? Because when you came here first, you told me aim high. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you've reached the pinnacle yet, but you're seeing the benefits of all the work you've done.
Yeah, we have, Ron. Last year was really special, and we talked about this in the off season about we don't want to forget what we accomplished last year and how we accomplished it. So many times, and people have success in life, they say, okay, I got to move on, I got to go to the next challenge, and you do, but you also need to remember all the things you did to have success. You need to remember the things that you learned during the season. We started off 1-2 last year. We were beaten badly back-to-back on the road, and then all of a sudden we ripped off 9 of our last 10, and we came together. We were really close as a family. You could just feel the love, the respect, the bonding that was taking place, not only with our players, but our coaches and our players. We faced some adversity last year. We handled it. We became better people, and that's something that guys like Jonathan and Brandon have helped their team grow with this summer. And we're not going to forget what we did, Ron, but we know it's now, here we go, it's a new season. It's time to, we're 0-0. It's time to get going.
You know, you won the last 6 games of the year. As a coach, when did the light bulb come on during that and say, this is a special team? Or did you know it from the beginning?
It happened for us. We came off a really bad loss at Western Kentucky.
Right.
And we went out to UTEP, and we really had to overcome some adversity in the third quarter. And a couple special things happened within that game that changed our team. And when we got that win, and we didn't get home till 6 o'clock the next morning.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And then we just felt like at that point, we can really make a run at this right now. And then each week we just said, hey, let's see if we can figure out a way to go 1-0. And we kept building momentum, and we kept getting better, and the players were gaining more confidence, and the coaches were gaining more confidence in what we were doing. But the UTEP game was a defining moment for us.
Well, when you look at teams that are successful, there are little things. There's those hidden yards, there's field goals. But to me, one of the things that really stood out, you win close games. And it's not like something you back down. And I thought that what made that team last year very special.
Yeah, we practice something we call chaos, which is every unusual situation that can happen in a game. And our players are so comfortable with it now. When it happens in a game, you look at our players, you look at our coaches, and everybody just acts like they're out for a Sunday drive. It's not that big a deal because they're confident in themselves. And we've got the #1 record in the nation the last 5 years in one-score games. And that has to do with how we practice, the confidence level. We do a really good job, Ron, of valuing the football. You know, our offensive players don't give it away. Our defensive players take it away. Our quarterbacks value the football. You know, whoever the quarterback is that's ever played at Old Dominion, he values the football. And when you do that, you can win football games.
If I'm not mistaken, you've only lost 2 games, 1 score since that time. I think there's only been 2 losses in games that have been close. I may be wrong, but I think I'm right on that, if I'm not mistaken. You mentioned quarterback. David Washington gave you an awful lot. You've got the stable. He's got a bunch of new faces right now. How difficult is it? And you have a reputation of building quarterbacks, and your system does. But to get these guys to understand what their role is going to be for this team, and who will they be?
Yeah, we've got 4 quarterbacks that will have an opportunity to compete. We had a couple quarterbacks back from last year. But here's what I'll say, Ron, without getting into all the quarterback talk, is that whoever our quarterback is has Brandon Addison has his back. Jonathan Duhart has his back. That's one of the things about Old Dominion that's been pretty special through our 8 years is that the other players rally around that position. The other players know that that's a very hard position to play, that position's scrutinized, that the fans scrutinize the position. Everybody talks about the position. So these guys rally around, and then what they do is, you know, they bring value in their area and they help the position. So last year, David Washington had an opportunity to develop early in the season, and these guys brought him confidence. And when you look at us now offensively, Ron, the majority of our offensive line's back. 2 running backs that are top 5 in the nation in yards of returning running backs. 9 of our 10 receivers with Jonathan are tight ends. So all the pieces are around the quarterback that will allow whoever that is to have an opportunity to develop.
10 players who caught 3 or more passes are back. Of those 10, 9 are back this season. The one thing that stands out, you mentioned 4 of the 5 offensive starters are back. And this is a team that set a single-season school record last year, over 2,500 yards. But you protected your quarterback. You didn't give up a lot of sacks. And once again, those are those hidden yards.
You're absolutely right. We didn't fumble the ball. We had very few interceptions, very few negative yardage plays on offense. And when you're doing that, if you can put together a couple first downs, even if you don't score, you change the field position.
Right.
And if Brandon and the defensive guys are going out there and the other team's got to go 80 yards I'm feeling pretty good about that situation. When you turn the ball over and the other team starts to drive on the 10-yard line, that makes it a lot more challenging. So we're always going to focus on that, Ron. We're always going to focus on valuing the football on offense. Our players understand if you turn the ball over, you're going to be standing next to me on the sideline, and that's not a lot of fun. I don't want to stand next to me on the sideline.
Only 10 turnovers last year. That was second fewest in the nation. That's impressive to me, for a young program like you have. Guys taking care of the football.
Yeah, we value it. Coach Scott, our offensive coordinator, calls the game in a way that we're going to try to score points, but we're going to try to protect the football. We're going to try to put the defense in a good situation when they go out to play defense. Those are important things. And, Jonathan will tell you as an offensive player, guys know in practice if you turn the ball over, you're standing on the sideline or you're off somewhere else on the field. So they protect the ball. They want to play. These guys like football. They want to play.
Well, I think the biggest improvement, getting back to the defense last season, when I went back and looked at the tape of games I did and also checking the numbers, was your defensive line. Is that a fair statement, do you think?
It is. We were top 20 in the nation in havoc plays, either sacks or negative yardage plays. And when your defensive line applies pressure, now you can take your corners like Brandon, you can be more aggressive. The quarterback's not going to have 3, 4, 5 seconds to throw. He's not thinking he's going to get as many double moves run against him. So the secondary can be more aggressive. The linebackers can be more aggressive. And that was the number one reason why we were number 2 in the league in scoring defense, is we created more havoc from the defensive line position.
And you returned 3 of those 4. So you've got a stout group of guys coming back. And that's almost a luxury in college football when you have that core of defensive linemen coming back.
Yeah, and these guys will tell you, we've got some guys right now that are listed like 1A on the depth chart.
Really?
Yeah, every day is a day of competition now at Old Dominion. And even with Brandon, our defensive backfield, we've got guys like Justice Davila, who's 5th all-time in the program history in tackles, and he's second team right now.
And he started in 2015.
He started in 2015. So even these guys in the back end, they got some serious competition going on right now. And what our guys know, Ron, I'll make this point about the defenses. Our guys know on defense are going to play.
Right.
If they bring value, they're going to play. And we prefer not to have Brandon out there, for example, playing 80 snaps every single game. He played the most snaps on the team last year. We'd like for him to occasionally get a rest, even though right now he's looking at me going, I don't want to
rest.
But when you can roll your D lineman, when you can play some 4-5-2 defense and you can roll 5 defensive backs in there and you can rest a linebacker, now all of a sudden you've got an ability to play really good football. And we're finally at that point at Old Dominion. We're developing our backup ones as really good players. It creates more competition in practice. These guys can practice at a higher level now than we ever could. It's made us a better team.
One thing, I want to give some love to the special teams because nobody ever talks about that. But I thought what Brad Davis did last season, filling in for Chris Kirtley, I think that kind of went under the radar of just what he did, hitting 10 of 12 field goals.
It did. Brad really stepped up in a difficult situation, not unlike what Chris had done the year before, did the same thing. And then we've had consistency. Our long snapper, Reed Boos, this will be his 3rd year as a starter. Very few people other than head coaches appreciate a good snap that goes back for an extra point, a field goal, or for a punt. Right. And then the only freshman that played for us last year, we had 31 freshmen. We redshirted 30 of them. Bailey Kate, the punter, played as a true freshman last year and did a really solid job for us as a true freshman. That's a lot of pressure to step in on a team that's winning 10 games and be a freshman. And you got to do a good job as a punter, and he handled that. So having all 3 of those guys back is really exciting for us.
Well, we talked to the players before you came on that 4th fewest seniors on the team in FBS last season, very young team last year. I've asked all the coaches this, and I'm going to ask both the players and the coach. I'll start with you, Bobby. I don't think Conference USA gets the respect it deserves. And I hear people talk about, we need to be in a Power 6, meaning another conference. And I look at the record against Conference USA, against some of these other conferences, it's a slam dunk. I just don't think Conference USA gets the respect in that area.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie what we've done in postseason. We've been really good against pretty much every conference we play. I really am hoping and pulling. I'm pulling for everybody in this league this year, non-league run, because we play 56 non-league games, 28 of them are against Power 5.
Right.
You know, it's 50%. 50% of our games are against Power 5 teams. I'd love to see us all get off to a really good start. That's when you establish yourself on a national scale, is when you're playing those games earlier in the year, and we've got to do a good job of that at Old Dominion.
Yeah.
You know, granted, we're only 8 years old, but it's time for us to put our big boy pants on and step up against the Power 5 teams and establish ourselves. But I don't think there's any question, Ron, that the coaching that's going on in this league right now, the caliber of play in this league, and the postseason accomplishments all make it pretty clear that Conference USA is as good as any of the other conferences.
Do you think ODU, and I'll start with the players first, do you think ODU is getting the national recognition it deserves, or is it just almost an afterthought? And I don't mean that, I'm not trying to be negative here.
Sure.
I'm trying to pub up the fact that ODU is you got to go to the games there because they're always sold out, and you protect your own field. But do you think ODU gets the national recognition it deserves?
I believe that we're starting to gain some, but at the same time, I think that we always have room to grow, and our fan base is, I know throughout Norfolk, it's wonderful. You know, I love our fans, but nationally, I don't think we do.
As Duhart said, it's growing, but nationally, I don't believe so. But we're going to continue to grow, and yeah, yes, sir.
Coach, I don't think coaches really worry about that or care about it, but do you think that it gets the recognition you deserve?
But we're in a unique situation. Remember, we've only been playing football for 8 years, so we started. Nobody knew we had football. Nobody knew where Old Dominion was. We had to explain to them where we were. And then you play on national TV 2 days before Christmas in a time slot with no competition, and you win a bowl game. Now a lot of people know who we are. And I always gauge it, Ron, by when I go on the road recruiting. When I first went on the road recruiting, I had to explain who we are. Last year I go on the road recruiting. A lot of people are saying, hey, I saw you guys in that bowl game. You know, how was that trip? It was really exciting. So I do feel that now Old Dominion is gaining respect nationally. The word's getting out about us. That was an unbelievable 3.5-hour commercial for the entire university. Our president, President Broderick, our athletic director, Wood Seelig, was so excited with that, and we need to keep doing that. You know, if you want to get attention, you got to earn attention. You want to get respect, you got to go out and earn respect, and we need to continue to do that.
Beat Eastern Michigan, by the way, in the Bahamas Bowl. Okay, I can't let you go because they sent me a note here saying you've got to do your Sean Connery impersonation. Hey, they tell me it's like being married. You know, when a producer tells you something, you go, okay.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Do these guys know who Sean Connery is?
Not a clue.
No.
Not a clue. You don't know who the original James Bond?
Nah.
He's the captain in the hunt for Red October. Set sail, men.
You, Sean Connery. I can't believe it. You don't know who
Merton,
Sean
do you know
Connery?
who Sean Connery is? Yes, he does. Okay.
Okay, Merton knows.
Merton
Merton's
Hanks.
old, though.
No, you guys aren't supposed to know who Sean Connery is.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby, always good to see you, my friend. I
Yeah,
look forward
thanks,
to seeing
Ron.
you during the season. Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate
You
it.
guys stay
Thanks
as
for having
healthy
us.
as you possibly can,
Yes, sir.
all right?
Yes, sir.
We'll continue our coverage from Conference USA Kickoff right after this.